So Moses was raised within Africa.
Yes.
So he was raised within, according to the Bible, he was raised within the house of Pharaoh.
Yes. I've got no problem with any of this.
Moses, Acts 7 verse 22 says, and Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in their words and deeds.
Yeah.
And so Moses himself, or the Bible itself, states that Moses was raised in here and got most of his stuff from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Got no issue with this.
Right. However, when you get to Moses, okay, when we get to the story of Moses, we get Moses getting stuff from God.
Which he does.
But he was raised there.
What I'm saying to you is that Ethiopian and Coptic Christianity...
They didn't have this form?
They still exist. They've existed for 2,000 years. Well, they're as old as anything in
The Christianity that you follow is not Coptic Christianity or Ethiopian Christianity.
No, it's not. No.
Right, so it's not that form. You have a different form.
Actually,
you have the more Catholicized form of Christianity.
I am simply a Christian, and I am as happy to go to a Coptic church as I am to go to a Catholic church.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you though, like if we strip it down, you have a more Catholicized form of Christianity, whereas the Coptics and the Ethiopians don't.
Well, actually, Catholic forms of Christianity, the Copts are Catholic forms of Christianity.
Okay, but the Copts were before the Catholic Church, though.
They grew simultaneously. The church in Rome and the church in Alexandria grew simultaneously. St. Peter...
Can I get a date for that?
Yeah. You can go and speak to the Coptic Christians and go and see who they say is the first founder of their church, and they'll say it's St. Mark. St. Mark, who wrote the Gospel of Mark.
Okay, but
go and speak to them.
But Coptic Christianity has been around before Catholicism, though.
Sorry, how many Coptic Christians do you know?
I don't move with Christians like that.
Okay, right. I know loads of Coptic Christians.
Okay.
I know loads of Coptic.
So do you know the origins of the Coptic Christians?
Yes.
In the Nile Valley?
It started in Alexandria.
Yeah, the Nile Valley, Africa.
Started in Alexandria, the city.
Okay, so is it a coincidence that from a great civilization building people like the Egyptians, and they had their deities and their principles and their spirituality, is it a coincidence that right around the same area that another form of spirituality popped up, like Christianity?
Right, well, let's just deal with that, because it seems to imply something that I have a problem with. Human civilization is something that has been congruous since the first man. The idea of creating order...
Who was?
Adam is the poetic description of it.
All right, Bob.
So
we're going to disagree there, you know that, right?
Yeah, I don't mean that literally. I'm just talking about the first man, of which Adam is a symbol. But the human nature from its very beginning has always sought to create order and civilization. The Greeks also had a very well-developed civilization. So did the Romans. So did the Parthians. The Babylonians. The Assyrians. You know,
did they all borrow from one another?
They were all cross-fertilizing one another. Right. All cross-fertilizing.
So Christianity was an amalgamation of those different spiritual systems?
You're jumping too far ahead.
Okay.
So in terms of the Christian faith developing in Egypt, it developed at the same time in the Greek-speaking world, in Greece and in Rome.
Well, if we...
So my point to you I'm making is that Christianity is as much African as it is European.
But if we call it Judeo-Christianity, if we call it Judeo-Christianity,
which is to give it its proper name,
we will see that the main patriarch of the 5 books was raised in Egypt.
I got no dispute the fact that Egypt has played a huge amount of influence within biblical history. I got no problem with that at all.
So then where would Moses have got his teachings from?
So what's your point from that?
Because, like I said, it's no coincidence. Before, like I said, it's no coincidence. I said, or is it coincidence that a great civilization building people who have their own spiritual systems and their own temples and their own principles and their own gods and all this kind of stuff, is it coincidence that Judeo-Christianity sprang from the same area?
Well, let me address that directly. The fact of the matter is that the Christian faith started in Palestine based upon a claim that Christ had risen from the dead. And that so radicalized the first believers that they went out in all different kinds of directions to proselytize this belief that Christ was the Jewish Messiah and the Savior of the world.
So what about Judeo-Christianity?
I am talking about Judeo-Christianity.
No, Moses started it.
No,
that's where the first 5 books come from.
Judeo-Christianity historically begins, and
it doesn't begin with Moses, you're saying?
Academic figures, Linda Woodhead, Paul Fletcher, countless others, historians of religious history, will tell you that the starting point of Judeo-Christianity was in 1st century Palestine.
So it's not with Moses then, is what you're saying?
Judaism, the Mosaic covenant, started with Moses.
Right.
However, the point that civilizations embraced Christianity proves nothing, because there were civilizations all the way around the world, and all those civilizations brought something into the church, because the church is for all nations. My faith takes what is best in any culture it encounters and magnifies it, and seeks to reduce that which is worst according to the prism of Judeo-Christian value systems and ethics. It's not like Islam, where we say that you've got to, take on Arab culture to be a good Muslim.
I hear that.
Yeah, that's not our faith.
I hear that. No, I hear that.
And the proof of that is the Coptic and Ethiopian church. They brought African culture into the church, and as a Christian, that inheritance is as much mine as the Sistine Chapel is theirs.
Right.
They are as much the owner to me of Westminster Abbey as I am of the cathedrals that have been dug into the mountains of Ethiopia.
That is a very poetic way to look at stuff, I would say. However,
it's a beautiful way, no?
It's a beautiful way to look at stuff. However,
now let me ask you.
If we strip it back, Bob, if we strip it back,
which you keep trying to do.
Yeah, we got to strip it back. We've got to.
Go on.
So if we go back to, like I said, back to the origins of, let's say, Judaism or the Mosaic Law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Moses was raised within Africa.
Yes.
So he was raised within, according to the Bible, he was raised in the house of Pharaoh.
Yes. I've got no problem with any of this.
Moses, Acts 7 verse 22 says, and Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in their words and deeds.
Yeah.
And so Moses himself, or the Bible itself, states that Moses was raised in here and got most of his stuff from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Got no issue with this.
Right. However, when you get to Moses, okay, when we get to the story of Moses, we get Moses getting stuff from God.
Which he does.
But he was raised there.
So your point is, what you're doing there, sir, is you're selectively taking some verses that talk about the African influence and saying.
But we can go to Egypt though, and we can find those. We can find those 10 Commandments on the walls of Egypt.
Yeah. That's why they're called natural law. Because the reason why the church describes the 10 Commandments as natural law is because it has never claimed those 10 Commandments are unique to the Judeo-Christian faith, but are something that every civilization could achieve by the use of their own reason. And so
but it just so happened that God had to give Moses those laws.
God incorporated,
even though Moses was raised in Egypt and already knew those laws.
God incorporated those laws into the Mosaic covenant. That you go and look at church teaching, Sarah, because it's clear to me that you are not familiar with it. Church teaching says that there is the natural law and the revealed law. The natural law is that which any civilization, regardless of revelation, can achieve through the use of their own reason, such as don't kill,
but Moses
don't
knew
murder.
That. Before God gave Moses that
completely,
Moses knew, because he murdered one of the Pharaoh's soldiers, right? And he ran because he knew it wasn't right to do it.
So
hang on, let me go. So Moses, your Bible states Moses was raised in the house, knew all the wisdom of the Egyptians. However, Moses, or the story of Moses, is that he got these natural laws.
No, you're being selective.
From God, that's what he says.
No, you're being selective.
But we can go to the walls of Egypt and find those laws.
So listen.
So did Moses get the laws from Egypt, or did he get the laws from God?
So listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you. The Christian faith teaches that natural law any civilization can achieve through the use of their own reason.
Did Moses teach that?
What?
You said Christianity teach that.
Yes, this is what the church teaches.
Did Moses teach that?
I can't say whether Moses taught that.
So then who might know? I'm going back to the story of Moses.
But my authority is the church, not Sa Ra Garvey and not Sa Ra Garvey's
I'm going back to Moses, though. You're going back to the church, a bunch of people who didn't get the revelation. Moses got it. I'm going back to Moses, though. You're going back to the church, a bunch of people who didn't get the revelation. Moses got it.
Let me finish my point and then engage with it.
All right, go for it.
So here's my point. Mosaic law is something that combines elements of natural law with elements of revelation. Okay? The fact that God stamps his approval on things that other civilizations have achieved through their own reason doesn't mean, and we're not arguing, and I am not arguing, stood here to you, that Moses never brought anything that he learned from Egypt into his life. And I am not arguing, stood here to you, that Moses never brought anything that he learned from Egypt into his life.
Right, okay.
No. The Egyptians achieved their knowledge of natural law through their own reason and intelligence.
Yes, but the story is though.
Can I finish my point?
All right, sorry, go on. And then after,
Can I finish my point?
Yeah, just finish your point.
So, because and ladies and gentlemen, this is how debate should be at Speaker's Corner.
Yeah.
Unlike when the Dawa team come in and start heckling everybody and shouting at everybody, this just proves that people can have an intelligent, normal discourse.
It all depends on the person you're speaking to.
Well, I mean, the Dawa team don't leave me with much confidence. But anyway, so the point that I'm making to you, and please listen and then engage.
Go for it.
Natural law is something that is structured within human nature and something that we can see with the use of our reason. It does not take revelation for you to know that murder is wrong, that stealing is wrong, that committing adultery is wrong. You don't need revelation for those things.
Okay.
Okay? Egypt had those things without any revelation from God, and so did other civilizations as well. Egypt is not unique.
Agreed.
The Babylonians had it also.
Agreed.
Now, Moses has a supernatural experience with the divine. He has an encounter with Elohim, with Yahweh, the burning bush, and this radicalizes his life, and he takes the people out of Egypt. Now, when they come out of Egypt, they have been slaves for 400 years. They are essentially savages. And God brings his law, brings his covenant to them, dealing with them where they are, the savages that they are. Okay? Now, I am not denying that Moses was influenced by Egypt, that he knew these things.
Right.
The fact that God then takes these natural laws and brings them into the Mosaic covenant doesn't mean that they are not also from God, because God is the creator. These things are natural laws. They are structured within the human heart. You can see them just using your own reason. They are there because the creator created them in you.
Yeah, but what you're saying is, what you're asking me to do is, right, I'm trying to be as objective and logical as possible.
Yeah.
What you're asking me to believe, Moses already knew these laws.
Yes.
That God revealed them to him, again, even though we already knew them, and then he gave them to his people. And it's
more
not
like a stamp of authority.
And it's not, Moses already knew them and then revealed them to his people.
Where does it say he doesn't know them?
No, I said he knew them.
All right, hold on. When he murdered the Egyptian god, what did he do?
He ran.
Why?
Because he knew it was wrong.
Exactly. So the Bible.
They knew there'll be a comeuppance.
So exactly. So the Bible isn't suggesting that Moses didn't know them. The Bible is stating quite clearly that he knew.
So then, did God write them, or did Moses write them for his people? That's the question.
Well,